What's going on? My name is Joe, and Sarah McBride is going to enter into Congress in a couple months. And there's been a lot of sort of controversy about her position and what it means for movements going forward. And it's been quite interesting to see how people handle establishment Democrats. And I just want to make something very, very clear from the jump. Sarah McBride is an establishment Democrat, and she will not give a shit about trans people. That's the plane. It's very clear in the way she speaks, the way she talks about issues, is that she's trying to align herself with power instead of aligning herself with any type of movement that is substantive to her identity. There's a lot to that. So we have to center ourselves from the jump that that's not her. She's not going to be this trans right activist. She's not going to be this person that's going to speak fervently and vigorously against anti-trans legislation and anti-trans practices, policies, and procedures. She is going to speak and navigate very strategically that aligns herself with whatever the popular narrative is within the DNC and the Democratic Party. And she's not going to sort of wiggle outside of that. What's jarring for a lot of people is that there's been an evolution of how she navigates and talks about things. This is a clip from a couple of years ago at this point when she was part of an advocacy movement. I don't remember the exact organization name, but the speech is online. I'll link it below. And specifically, she talks about the dangers of the Mike Pence and Donald Trump administration. And this is what she had to say.
They've attempted to restrict access to restrooms for transgender people like me. A thinly veiled attempt to push transgender people out of public life and into the shadows. Because if transgender people like me cannot use restrooms safely and easily, it becomes much more difficult to go to school, to go to work, or to really leave our house for more than a few hours. But we've also seen that with every single one of these attacks, we've ended up having a conversation with this country that has only served to open hearts, change minds, and sow the seeds of the destruction of the politics of hate that these politicians seek to implement.
So that was Sarah McBride when she was part of the Human Rights Campaign. And as you could tell, she was speaking pretty strongly about restrooms and the problems that occur, I guess a rippling effect that occurs when it comes to access. And then she went on Face the Nation, and it seems like she got a little trained, and now the tune gets a little different.
As you mentioned, you were here for orientation. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, was asked about you coming to work and some objections by a female South Carolina Republican representative regarding what bathroom you'd be able to use. Here's what the speaker said.
A man is a man, and a woman is a woman, and a man cannot become a woman. That said, I also believe, that's what Scripture teaches, what I just said, but I also believe that we treat everybody with dignity.
Do you believe that you are being treated with dignity by your colleagues?
I didn't run for the United States House of Representatives to talk about what bathroom I use. I didn't run to talk about myself. I ran to deliver for Delawareans. And while Republicans in Congress seem focused on bathrooms and trans people, and specifically me, I'm focused on rolling up my sleeves, diving into the details, setting up my office, and beginning the hard work of delivering for Delawareans on the issues that I know keep them up at night. And I look forward to working with any colleague who's ready to work and ready to be serious about the issues that matter, because at the end of the day, how I'm being treated does not matter What matters is how the American people are being treated and whether we're actually focused on the issues that matter to them.
And again, like to give her flowers, she is trained. No notes. The thing that's very tricky, and again, like she even tripped and fell, and she basically fell on her ass straight up on this, is that they're focusing on you because you're the first, and how they treat you as the first is going to influence how they treat the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth. They're going to target her. They're going to target her with practices, policies, and procedures. And then they're going to see like where the window of tolerance begins and ends. And at the consequence of that is that they're using her as a test to see, okay, how far can we go with these things? So saying that you're going to comply with House rules.
Do you follow this rule? Do you adhere to it?
I have already said that I will not use multi-stall women's restrooms in the Capitol. But again, that is my choice here. I always knew that there would be an effort to politicize my use of a restroom.
Yeah.
And if anyone had thought to ask me about what I was planning on doing, I would have been happy to tell them.
Yeah.
But again, this is not an issue. And this has never been an issue in this complex. Everything was fine until some members of the small Republican conference majority decided to get headlines.
To think that, like, it's not about me, it's about all the other trans folks that might be coming into Congress in the future, because how they treat you now is how they're going to treat them at the base level that they're treating you now, or worse. And I was not expecting her to be this pro-trans ally, this pro-trans individual. I think it's nonsense to walk into this thinking that she was going to be, but it is fun to, it's not fun to watch. It sucks. It sucks for everyone involved, and especially sucks for trans folks. But it just shows the power of the Democratic establishment. I mean, this is the woman that also accepted AIPAC money. Like, she's also had a strong stance in defense of Israel. But as you notice, if you look at her account history, she's very quiet about these things because she knows better. So she's not going to be caught with a strong Israel stance, but she's going to quietly take AIPAC money, maybe every once in a while, bring up the idea of like right to defend itself, but she's not going to be like the super soldier that John Fetterman is going to be. But I say all that to say that just because somebody is a member of a particular identifiable group does not mean that they're going to advocate for or be a strong advocate, activist, whatever you say, towards that group. You see Sarah McBride talk about trans folks in a way that's disappointed. She does not care. It's not her politic. Maybe that was in the past, and that makes it more frustrating, but that's just not how she's going to roll with things. And you're going to have to sort of take that, swallow it, and then just like, okay, I need to find if this is something that you care about, I'm going to need to find my trans advocacy and my trans politics from other people. She ain't it.